One afternoon, Duck and Stanley were talking to each other when Sir Topham Hatt arrived. Miss Jenny needs some more bricks and timbers for the pack. I need 2 strong engines to pull the bricks and timbers. Duck, you're the front engine, and Stanley, you're the back engine. Yes, sir. Of course, sir, said Stanley. Come on, Stanley, let's get to work, said Duck. And then the 2 engines puffed away. Wait, said Sir Topham Hatt. There is a falling tree on the line. But before Sir Topham Hatt was finished, the 2 engines puffed away. Duck was coupled up to the front of the train, and Stanley buffered up to the back of the train. And then the 2 engines set off. Stanley and Duck were puffing through the countryside. Then the 2 engines stopped at a junction. You know, Stanley, said Duck, there are 2 ways of doing it, the wrong way and the Great Western Way. Stanley was puzzled. What do you mean by the Great Western Way? Asked Stanley. The Great Western Way means the right way, replied Duck. I like that, said Duck, and, of course, I will always do it the right way. Then Henry puffed in. Hello, Duck. Hello, Stanley, said Henry. Hello, Henry, said Duck. What are you 2 guys up to? Asked Henry. I am teaching Stanley how to do things the Great Western Way, replied Duck. Wow, Duck, said Henry, you really are a good role model. Then Duck and Stanley chuffed away. Wait, said Henry, there has been a fallen signal on the tracks. But Duck didn't hear Henry. But Stanley did. Wait, Duck, did you hear Henry? He said that there's a fallen signal on the tracks ahead. We have to go the other way. Nope, I must go there directly and promptly. I am doing this the Great Western Way. And then Duck chuffed on. Come on, Duck, said Stanley. I don't want you to get into an accident. We must go the other way. No, Stanley, this is serious. I am doing this the Great Western Way, replied Duck. Then there was trouble. Duck did not see the fallen signal up ahead that has been fallen on the tracks. Look out, Duck, cried Oliver. Oh dear, cried Duck. He applied his brakes, but it was too late. Duck crashed straight into the signal, and then he derailed and came right off the tracks. Are you all right there, Mr. Duck? Asked Toad. I think so, replied Duck. Don't worry, Duck, said Stanley. Please remain calm. I'm going to go and get help. And Stanley chucked away to go get help. At last, Stanley arrived with Rocky. With a mighty heave and a mighty haul, Stanley lowered Duck back on the tracks. Sir Topham Hatt spoke severely to Duck. Well, 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 Duck, said Sir Topham Hatt. I heard that you have been ignoring people's advice, and you ignored my advice. I was the one that warned you that there has been a fallen signal on the tracks, but you just chose to puff away. Duck felt terrible. Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. I was trying to do things the Great Western Way. Please, sir, said Stanley. I tried to warn him, but I think it's my fault because I wasn't firm enough. Sir Topham Hatt listened to Stanley. Farewell, Stanley. It's not really your fault, but yes, next time maybe you could be a little bit more firm. But don't worry, we all make mistakes sometimes, and I know that you were trying to be a really useful engine. Yes, sir, said Stanley. I promise to be more firm next time. Sir Topham Hatt smiled, and then he looked at Duck. Well, Duck, I understand you were trying to do things the Great Western Way, but if Stanley says that you should go to a different location because there has been something falling on the tracks, maybe you should listen, okay? But I'm proud of you how you always want to get things done on time, said Sir Topham Hatt. Duck smiled. Yes, sir, thank you. I promise to do things the Great Western way. If there's something falling on the tracks, I will listen to the other engines, said Duck. Great job, Duck. I'm very proud of you, said Sir Topham Hatt. Then Rocky moved the signal off the tracks. Then Duck and Stanley chuffed on. At last, they arrived at the construction site. Thank you, Stanley. Thank you, Duck, said Jack. Both of you guys made it just in time, finished Alfie. Well done, both of you, beamed Miss Jenny. Both of you guys got to work here on time, which makes both of you a really useful engine. And Duck, I'm so proud of you how you always like to do things the right way. Duck smiled. Thank you, Miss Jenny, said Duck. And Stanley, I love how you always like to make sure that everyone gets the job done on time, just like Duck. You are also a really useful engine. Thank you, said Stanley happily. Later, Duck and Stanley decided to have another long talk. Thanks for your help today, Stanley, said Duck. You are a really useful engine. No problem, Duck. Any time, replied Stanley. And you are also a really useful engine, too. You did it the right way, I did it the Great Western way, which means both of us did it the right way. And Stanley agreed. Yes, we did, said Stanley.